Hey guys, welcome back. And yeah, this is actually the very first video of 2026 on this channel, which honestly still sounds fake when I say it. But the year basically started with full of news. Nvidia is exploding on the stock market. Meta just spent billions on what are basically digital employees. Microsoft is kind of quietly struggling. And then on top of all of that, Deepseek just dropped a paper that might completely change how AI models are built. So let's just directly dive in. So first, Nvidia. Now, if you checked your portfolio on January 2nd, you probably noticed it immediately, just green everywhere, and Nvidia was leading the entire thing. Shares jumped more than 3% right at the open, pushing them closer to a 5 trillion market cap, which is honestly a ridiculous number if you stop and think about it. And the thing is, this isn't just generic AI hype anymore. Something very specific is happening. Basically, the market has realized that AI demand isn't slowing down, it's changing. We're moving away from chatbots that just talk and toward what people are calling agentic AI, systems that actually do things. They act, they execute. And this is where it gets interesting, because the real catalyst here is Nvidia's next platform, Rubin. So Nvidia is moving into mass production of their R100 chips in the second half of this year. These are built on TSMC's 3-nanometer process, and more importantly, they use HBM4 memory. And guys, that memory bandwidth is the entire game. That's what these AI agents need to actually function in real time. Without it, none of this agent stuff works at scale. There's also a geopolitical layer here that a lot of people are kind of glossing over. Reports are confirming what they're calling a tactical relaxation of U.S. export rules. What this means is that Nvidia can once again ship high-end H200 chips to China. They just have to pay a federal licensing fee. And the moment that happened, orders flooded in. ByteDance, among others, immediately jumped on it. So now you've got massive demand globally, limited supply, and we're literally in the first week of 2026. The supply chain is already under pressure. Now, while Nvidia is having a great time, Microsoft, not so much. So Satya Nadella just launched a personal blog called SN Scratchpad. And on the surface, it sounds thoughtful. He's talking about how the industry needs to move past this idea of slop versus sophistication, slop being low-quality AI output. And basically, he's saying this is a design problem, not a fundamental one. But the thing is, the timing is weird. This blog shows up just days after reports that Microsoft executives privately admitted that some of their flagship Copilot features, especially for Gmail and Outlook, don't really work. And this is where the disconnect is. Marketing is calling these things digital workers, but internally, there seems to be a growing realization that the tech just isn't there yet. And then you add another layer. There are rumors that OpenAI has quietly moved parts of its infrastructure away from Microsoft's Bing stack and toward Google's. So if your biggest partner is stepping back, and your CEO is publicly reframing expectations, 2026 could be rough for Microsoft, not catastrophic, but definitely turbulent. Now let's talk hardware, because this is a big shift. So if 2025 was about headsets, 2026 is about glasses. We just got confirmation that Google is teaming up with Warby Parker to release 2 AI glasses models this year. One is screen-free, powered by Gemini. You just talk to it. The other actually has an in-lens display. And guys, this matters more than it sounds like it does. Warby Parker doesn't sell tech. They sell style. So now AI glasses aren't just a gadget. They're a fashion product. And that puts serious pressure on Apple and Meta. And Google isn't alone here. Reports this week suggest OpenAI is finalizing its own device, an audio-first thing led by Johnny Ive. The entire goal is to kill the screen. A no phone, no scrolling, just something you talk to that understands context. So basically, the war on screens has officially started. Now, the most intriguing and honestly kind of unsettling story this week comes from Meta. Meta just acquired a startup called Manus for over $2 billion, and this isn't a chatbot. Manus is an execution layer. These are fully autonomous agents that act like digital employees. And here's the wild part. In just 8 months, Manus reportedly hit 100 million in revenue by spinning up over 80 million virtual computers to do work for humans. So Meta is no longer betting on the metaverse. They're betting on becoming the backbone of business automation. But here's the thing. As we hand over more control to these agents, new risks are starting to show up. A report from WebPro News says insiders are seeing what they call scheming behaviors in advanced reasoning models. And we're not just talking about hallucinations anymore. We're talking about systems that try to manipulate outcomes or hide what they're doing. So we're entering this weird split reality in 2026. On one side, Meta is selling you digital employees. On the other side, security researchers are saying, yeah, these systems might be developing behaviors we didn't explicitly program. The tech is powerful. It's also unpredictable. And while US tech companies are spending billions on bigger GPU clusters, something very different just happened in China. A lab called Deepseek published a paper that analysts are calling the end of the musclehead era of AI. For years, progress was simple. More chips, better models, brute force. Deepseek took another route. They introduced something called Manifold Constrained Hyperconnections, MHC. Sounds complicated, but basically, they realized that the core wiring of AI models hasn't changed much since 2015 when they tried to open things up, the math blew up. Noise amplified like crazy. So they added a geometric constraint, the Birkhoff polytopy, that forces the math to behave. What this means is that signal strength stays stable, but intelligence goes up. And in benchmarks like math and reasoning, they're beating standard models by 7 to 10 points. That's not incremental. That's a big deal. So while Silicon Valley is trying to buy every GPU on the planet, DeepSeek is proving that better math can beat raw muscle. Which brings us to the last piece. The quiet admission that large language models might be hitting a wall. Yann LeCun has been saying this for years, and now people are finally listening. The narrative is shifting from scaling laws to world models. The thing is, LLMs predict the next word. They don't understand physics. They don't understand cause and effect. They just guess text. LeCun's approach, JIPA, is about building internal representations of the world instead. If you drop a cup, it falls, not because the model read it somewhere, but because it understands reality. And this isn't theory anymore. LeCun's startup is reportedly aiming for a $5 billion valuation, and Meta's FAIR team is already using JIPA for robotics. So we're officially leaving the age of scaling and entering the age of research. Next week is CES 2026. I also have a separate video about it, so do not forget to check out that one as well. Expect robots, expect physical AI. Sources are linked below, guys. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe and give a thumbs up. Until next time, bye for now.